Rasmussen, and today I will be mock debating Free Gracer uh, Rico. And just starting off, I would like to, just because this is planned and this is something that I set up. I would like the Free Gracer who I'm mock debating to basically just give their testimony of free grace and you know tell us their name and just that kind of stuff. And hope you don't mind. So Rico, you mind telling us your testimony to free grace?
Yeah, I just my brother taught me free grace for years, and I was just wondering, I was just trying to get better at this,
Hmm.
to give my parents free grace.
Yeah. So your brother taught you free grace, right?
Yeah, my brother's name is Skipper.
Gotcha. And your name is Rico. So uh,
Mm.
that's interesting. I guess I would assume that your brother was trying to convert your family as well, right?
Yeah, correct. But yeah, it's just like my mom, my parents are they believe that by it's by works, and I wanna convert them to free grace.
Yeah. All right. So without waiting a little bit, so let's get into this. Okay. All right.
Mm.
So starting off, James chapter 2 verse. Let's just put the whole chapter in here, just to like have a basis to start out with. All right. So I'm gonna make my first lordship argument, and then you can like go off from there. And I'm not gonna lie, I feel like I would get cooked pretty easily on this because, like, I think that free grace is the easiest position in my opinion to take. Anyway, so starting off, it says, "What doth it profit, my brethren, though a man say he hath faith and have not works? Can faith save him?" So the verse says, point blank, faith save him. But we see in the context that it's the one who has faith without works. That faith in this context, it's the idea of a rhetorical question. Can that faith save him? The idea is no. That faith cannot save him. And it says in verse 19, "Thou believest that there is one God. Thou doest well. The demons also believe, and they tremble." So the demons believe the message, you know, and they're not saved. So going to verse 14, it says, "Can faith save him?" But I think it's "Can that faith save him?" The kind of faith save him. So, if this faith does not have works, it can't save you, bro.
So my response will be, I was wondering if you guys can help me because I'm kind of new beginner at this. We're mock debating right now, but I'll just like if you guys could assist me with like what I would say back, you know.
Yeah, sure. Uh, I can. I guess.
If you could give me
Uh,
arguments.
um, I mean, I feel like not to like devalue the idea of mock debating. Uh,
Uh,
trying to think of what I should do here. And my dad is coming up here just a minute, so I'll be right back.
Well, for the sake of the audience and for the sake of brevity, I will supplant some of the potential responses you could have to that, and you can sort of modify them to your own liking. Okay, so number one, they're assuming that the salvation is salvation from hell. I'd ask them, why do you think it's salvation from hell? What makes you think that in the context? And
mm,
then and then they made a claim. So they made a claim about a word that at least in the King James and the New King James and some other translations, it says that faith. The problem is the word that is actually not the Greek word. It's not the Greek word for that. It's the Greek word ha or the or he, and it literally means the faith. So like, there's no reason to take it as a kind of faith. I mean, there's a lot more you can go into it with Greek. I'm not going to go into that for the audience's sake. But they're already assuming. See, they're already assuming in their sort of analysis that, well, it has to be talking about a kind of faith, not genuine faith. It's disingenuous faith, and so therefore it has to be talking about not having salvation because you're saved by genuine faith, something like that. Like, they're already assuming their conclusion and their premise. So there's a few ways you could go with that. Though those are just some of them.
All right, I'm back.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
I can repeat it. It's all right.
Okay.
So I'll repeat it for him. All right, I'm back. Okay, so the idea is that number one, you just basically ask questions. You always question their motives and their ideas. Like, for example, if they say in the passage that it's about, eternal salvation, based on the idea that you have to do good works to like prove they have real faith or whatever, or to have like quote unquote genuine true faith, then you don't just say, okay, well, okay, I guess you're right or whatever. No. You have to be like confident and be assertive. You just basically ask them questions. You'd be like, well, why do you think that? And you're like, there's no reason to think that, because like, A, B, C, X, Y, and Z. Now you could get into the idea that they're saved and stuff like that, which could be a good point. But number two, just the idea that verse 14. So basically, the idea is that verse 14 says, "Can faith save him?" in the KJV, which I think is the true understanding of this form. But in the other translations, ESV and stuff like that, it says, "Can that faith save him?" So like, the idea is that they just like they misinterpreted that idea. Can that faith save him? It's not can that faith save him. The word, I don't want to get too much in the Greek here because like people is getting into that, but like because you're new here, but like I'll just say it. I'll just repeat it again. You see, verse 14. I'll just put in the chat. James 2:14. Okay, it says, "What doth it profit, my brethren, though a man say he hath faith, and hath not works? Can faith save him?" So you see, that's what the KJV says, right? It says, "Can faith save him?" But look at the ESV. So what does it say in the ESV? Can you read that for me?
Yeah, I can read it. It says, "What good is it, my brothers, if someone says he has faith but does not have works? Can that faith save him?"
Right. So notice, do you see a difference between the KJV and the ESV in this verse?
Yeah, I do. It says,
Right,
there. Do you want me to explain to you, or?
Yeah, so it says that, right? So, yeah, the word that is not in the Greek. It's just assumed. In fact, I don't think the word the word there in the Greek is ho, which is like basically or actually not ho. That would be omicron, the Greek letter omicron. But this is eta, the Greek letter eta for he, or something like that. The idea is, I don't want to get too technical in this, but just the idea is, nowhere in the New Testament is the word eta, by itself, ever referring to, like, it's usually not referring to that. It's usually the, so that's the idea. So it's just general faith, right? It's not some kind of specific faith, right? I'm kind of spoiling stuff here, but you get the point. Just ask questions, right?
Sure. Oh, okay.
All right. So
Done.
like, going back to that, what doth it profit, my brethren, though a man say he hath faith and hath not works? Can faith save him? So, like, I tell you, the verse says,
Mm.
can faith save him? Well, if you don't have good works, can your faith save you? I'm basically making the assumption that it's about salvation from hell. So you ask me what?
So I would ask you. So wait. So if you would tell me that verse, and then what would I say to you?
Yeah, what would you say to me if I say, can that faith save him? And I'm assuming that it's about salvation from hell.
Well, I say it can save you because faith alone is enough.
Can save you because faith alone is enough.
Yeah.
Well, the verse says but the verse is a rhetorical question. It says, can faith save him? So like,
So
what would be the question you should ask? That's really what I'm trying to get at. I'll just give it to you. You should just ask them, like, why do you think that? Just simple basic questions. Why do you think that? And then once you say, or kind of assert, almost in a questioning kind of way, why do you think that? There's no reason to assume that it's about salvation from hell in the verse, because we see in other parts of Scripture very clearly, in fact, most of the Scripture, that salvation, eternal salvation, is by faith alone in Jesus Christ, not by good works. But that would be a good
okay,
response.
got it.
But
Okay, got it.
another thing that they might say is, yes, that is correct. You are saved eternally by faith alone in Jesus Christ. But if you're quote unquote truly saved, you're gonna do the good works. And they point to verse 17 and verse 26. But we can get in that in a minute, right? So I don't know if there's anything else I should say so far right now. I'll just
Yeah, just 'cause I was thinking about like what you just said. Like we were just gonna continue with the other verse. I was wondering, like, because that's what that's what my parents says. So she like says that to me, and I don't have a response to it. And I
Yeah.
can't prove her
Yeah.
wrong.
So what does she say? Just tell us what she says. Then we can go from there.
She just said like well perfectly what you just said, like she just goes to that verse, says, oh, can like wait, would you? She usually says, but if that faith is really it's faith alone, yes, but if that faith is really like true, then you'll do good works to prove that it's true. That's pretty much what always is she says, and I
Yeah.
can't
So
figure it
what
out.
verse? Just for like total clarity here, what verse
Mm.
would she point to in James chapter 2 to say that and assert that?
She would say. She would point out to number 18, if ye men say have faith and have showed me faith without works, and I've showed them my faith by works. She goes to that verse.
Yeah, I got an explanation on that.
Mm.
I think I'll just tell my view, because we're getting on this. So it says, well, I think that the word yeah, I think it more so means the idea of but. Although some people like Chris Morrison think it's like it's an agreeing point. I'm not really sure about that. The word is Allah in the Greek, so it's like it more so carries the idea in most of the times in the Bible with the idea of but. And I think he's making like a distinction here. So, but a man may say, you have faith and I have works. Show me your faith apart from your works, and I will show you my faith by my works. That's basically the ESV understanding of that. So verse 18, it says faith, right? So that's what it says, faith. But you gotta understand, what is the faith in this context? Like, what kind of faith are we talking about here? What kind of faith? I would go down to verses 14 through 16. It says, "What doth it profit, my brethren, though a man say he hath faith, and hath not works, can faith save him? If a brother or sister be naked and destitute of daily food, and one of you says unto them, Depart in peace, be ye warmed and filled, um, notwithstanding ye give them not the things which are needful to the body, what doth it profit?" So notice two things here. Number one, it says in verse 1, uh, you know, uh, what does it profit? So it's talking about a consistent theme here. What does it profit? It carries that idea of what does it profit all the way to verse 16 of that idea. So that's the first point. Number two, in verse 14, it says though a man say he has faith. Notice that, say he has faith. Go down to verse 16. It says, "Depart in peace," and one of you says unto them, "Depart in peace, be warmed and filled." So, verse 14, it says, "Though a man say he has faith," and verse 16 says, and one of you says to them, "Depart in peace, be warmed and filled." That's just about what you're saying. So you're saying you have faith. I think that those two ideas, "depart in peace, be warmed and filled," and faith, are the same thing in the context here. So you're having faith in the brethren, that the brethren are basically gonna get what they need for the body without you doing action. That's kind of that's my view on that right there. And then
So that's like the thing that you would say to the person, like saying verse 18 to you.
yeah, I would say that the faith here, it's not about like
Because because sorry, I'm trying to because like I'm trying to tell them, oh, you're misreading the words, like you're not so you're just misputting the words, you're not
yeah.
understanding what it says.
And moreover, to like finish off this point I'm trying to say here, I was trying to get onto it. The point is,
Mm.
going back to point one. It says, "What doth it profit, my brethren?" Though man, that kind of idea. And then verse 16, it ends off again. What doth it profit? So it's literally this idea of what does it profit if you have faith but you don't have works. Um, you know it doesn't say, you know, what kind of faith is that? Is that faith genuine? That kind of stuff. It just simply says, is it good? Is it useful to have faith without works? That's the idea. So in the context, it's just simply about something that is active, something that is moving, something that is animate, something that is just like flourishing and doing something. Um, when you have
So
yeah,
like the phone theory, right?
yeah, like the phone theory, like you got a phone, the phone, when you have electricity to it, or something. I can't remember exactly how they put it on the phone analogy, but it's like, you have like a car battery. If your car doesn't work anymore, that doesn't mean that the car is not there. The car is still there. It's just not active. It's just not doing anything. And that's
Got it.
kind of the point on verse 17. Even so, faith, if it hath not works, is dead. What? What does the last part of verse 17 say?
It says, even so, faith not with the works is dead, being alone.
Right. So it says dead being alone. But wait. Hold up a second. Wait. But if the faith that you have faith in Jesus, but you don't have works, it's dead being alone. Wait, but I thought that if you have faith and you don't have works, then you don't have faith. You don't have genuine faith or whatever. The faith is not there, right? But the verse says that the faith
Right.
is alone, which means that the faith is, it's just not doing anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
You see
It's
that?
a
Yeah.
non-profit. Oh, yeah, got it.
Yeah.
So
So yeah.
all this is saying is faith without works is just doesn't profit anything, right? That's
Yeah.
what it's
So
saying. That's the whole passage.
yeah. So yeah. That's my view on the the first stages of verses 14 through 18 and so on after that. The idea is verse 18 is just saying, you know, if a man says he has faith, which I think in context is about you saying, you know, oh, I have faith that the brethren are going to get what they need for their body, but you don't give them what they need for their body, which is the works, then that's not going to profit you anything, and you're going to be like basically saying something, but it's not useful. It's not actually put into action. You're not showing a useful faith because you don't have good works. That's kind of my view.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that's pretty much what you would say to a person who's not free grace, right?
Yeah. There are some different free grace perspectives on verse 18, but there is also a lot of ways to interpret that, which kind of would be unrelated to the idea of like proving free grace, but regardless, I think the verse doesn't prove lordship salvation. Um, anyway, do you want to continue with the mock debate, or what do you want to do?
No. That's actually all I needed. Actually, I think I understand it now.
Well, actually, well, in that case, would it potentially be better if Noah and I were to just do something really quick and sort of you
Oh
see the
yeah,
back
yeah.
and forth of that?
Well, yeah, that would be great. Yeah, if you could like do something with someone else, so I can
Okay. So yeah, Noah can play the same role, and I'll just try to defend
I'll be
my
the
position.
lordshipper. I'll be the lordshipper. You'll be the free gracer.
Sure. Okay. So what is your thesis about this passage?
All right, so I mean, the idea is simple. I mean, if you have faith, or say you have faith, claim that you have faith in Jesus Christ, but you don't have good works, then I mean, that faith, it can't save you, bro.
So a few things. So where are you getting? So when you say the faith can't save you, saved in what sense?
Like, save you, bro.
But what kind of salvation?
Well, I mean, what is it? Verse 10, it's talking about salvation, bro. So this is talking about salvation.
Makes you think verse 10 is talking about salvation? Well, again, I have to ask, what kind of salvation is in view?
Eternal
Like,
salvation, bro. Come on, bro. Come on, it's clear. It's obvious. Come on. In verse 10, it basically says that for whoever keeps a whole law but fails in one point has become guilty of it all, bro. If you do good works, but then you fail in one point, that's the idea of Romans 2, bro. You're cooked.
So you've admitted that no matter how many good works you do, it can't save you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no good works can save.
So good works can't save you, but they can prove your salvation. How does that make sense?
Yeah, they can prove. Yeah, it's not that you have to do the good works to be saved, but if you're truly saved, you're gonna do the good works. See? Huh?
So okay. So you said James 2 is talking about Romans 2. Now, did you know Romans was written after James? But why would James be talking about a book that doesn't exist?
Talk about a book that does. No. That's not my point. I'm just talking about a principle. Bro. I'm not saying like James is carrying on an idea from Romans, bro. Come on.
So then what's he carrying an idea from?
Well, all I'm saying is that verse 10. It's clearly about salvation because we see a principle in Romans chapter 2 that if you just the idea of a hypothetical example that if you keep the law but you sin at one point, then you're going to hell.
Well, okay, so you said that it's talking about Romans 2. Is it equally as likely that it could be talking about Deuteronomy 28, living and dying, like physical life, physical death?
Which verse?
You don't know. Okay, Leviticus 18:5.
No. I meant in James chapter 2. What verse?
Yeah, James 2:10.
You think that's about Leviticus?
Well, you said it's about Romans. Why can't I say it's about Leviticus?
I mean, I'm just saying a principle. I'm not saying it is.
Yeah, I know, but okay. So then, okay, do exegesis. Do exegesis. I want you to do exegesis on that verse. Take in
All
the
right.
context of James and do exegesis on that verse.
All right. I mean, in the context, it is just talking about if you are partial toward the brethren, you won't basically profit your body for the Lord or something like that. That's
Okay.
the previous context.
Okay. Okay, so you've admitted that if you just take the book contextually and you do exegesis, you would not come up with whatever you said before.
Well, I mean, no. You gotta understand, bro. It's a principle, man.
Yeah, but you're talking about application. Like, okay. You said that it's talking about Romans 2 in principle. And I said, "Oh, okay. So then this is fair game. It could be talking about Leviticus 18. So who's right?"
Okay, okay, bring up Leviticus 18.
Yeah, Leviticus 18 verse 5.
Put
Yeah.
it put in the chat.
Um yeah,
Oh
at
man.
least that's the one that I remember. Leviticus 18 verse 5. It says, "You my statutes and my judgments, if a man do, he shall live in them."
Oh my gosh, my
Yeah.
dogs. Hold up a second. Stupid dogs. Anyway, so you think it's talking about this verse? Why so?
What? What verse?
Leviticus 18:5. Why do you think it's about this verse?
Why do you think that James 2 is talking about Romans 2?
I'm not. Oh, dude. I'm not
Yeah,
saying
exactly.
it is.
Like, I'm trying to show you something. I'm trying to show you that I don't care what you think. That's what I'm trying to show you. I'm trying to show you that I can be equally as say whatever claim I want about whatever passage in any context.
I'm not
I
even
can say
claiming
anything.
anything, dog. I'm not even claiming anything.
Then what? So you're saying James 2 is talking about Romans 2 in principle. Why can't I say James 2 is talking about Leviticus 18:5 in principle?
Well, you know what's funny? I mean, you know what? I actually kind of agree. I mean, Leviticus 18:5 is a principle of like this idea of Romans 2 anyway. 'Cause, like if you don't like you keep the law, but you don't live in it, and you fail at one point. I mean, you're, like Galatians 3:10 says. I mean, you're.
But when the original audience had this, were they thinking about heaven and hell?
Well, they
Like, did God
weren't.
expect?
I mean, no, they weren't. But the New Testament uses it positionally though.
Wait, so you're saying because the New Testament uses something positionally that it changes the meaning of it to be also positional?
Well, no. Bro. Again, it's just the idea of like, come on. It's just a principle. Come on. What do you think that means? Come on, bro.
I understand. So can you define for me what a principle is?
Like a principle just is like you're grabbing an idea from a passage, like to make an application.
Okay, I'm not. But we're not. Are we doing an exegetical debate? Or are we doing an applicatory debate?
I mean, we are doing exegesis, but like I'm.
So then,
Alright.
so then it's okay. Bruce Compton's 3 steps. I think this is Bruce Compton, or it might be Kaiser's. The 3 steps of any good biblical exposition is observation, interpretation, which is exegesis, and application. You're jumping too far ahead. Just stop trying to confuse yourself and just stay with exegesis, interpretation. So tell me what the text of James 2 means.
Not profiting others by being partial.
Okay, if you're not partial, are you going to go to hell in James?
No, but come on. I mean, anyway. Okay, going back to verse 14. It says, "Can faith save him?" Why do you think it's not about salvation for me?
Because there's nothing in the context about salvation.
Well, I mean, what is it? James chapter 1 verse 18 is about salvation.
Okay, that's good, but is it dependent on your works or is it dependent on the word of truth?
Well, I can't remember what it says. Let me see.
Yeah. Of his own will, he brought us forth or made us born again through the word of truth. Nothing about good works there.
Yeah, but uh,
Mhm.
well, if it's well, I mean, it can still be an idea that's positional, all right?
James 1:18 I think most free graces say that's the only positional verse in the book. But just because one verse is positional doesn't mean all verses are positional. It's just, especially not when it's like meant to be
Dude,
an
I'm not gonna
exhortation.
lie. This is very difficult. This is well. I'll keep going. Okay. Verse 21. It literally says, once an Abraham our father justified by works, dude. Romans 4:2 literally uses that position. Like, how can you tell me that this is not positional salvation? Verse 14, when it literally says justification, and that's positional in Romans 2, 4, sorry.
So again, Romans does not exist. So if you go in the Old Testament, justification is experiential.
Huh?
Have you never heard of justification in
Okay,
Exodus 3
well,
verse?
Genesis 15:6 uses the same word for justification, which is dikeos, and that is that's positional.
Okay. I mean, so like you're saying Abraham was saved by works. That doesn't sound like faith alone.
Well, I mean, no. It's just that like when he did the good works in Genesis 22, then it showed that like to God that he was like fearing him and stuff like that.
Okay, sure. I don't see the connection though. You
But
got to
like
make it more clear.
if you're fearing God, then like others can see that as verse 18 is declaring, and then you can show your faith by your works.
Okay. But then how do you get then that justified means saved though in this text?
Because of like the idea of Romans 4, bro. Come on, bro.
Okay, but you're saying that you're saved by works, but you said you're not saved by works.
All right,
So you're
no.
contradicting it.
Okay, I'll just clear it up. So the idea of justification, it just means like acknowledging something. Because like that's kind of like R.C. Sproul, said. Come on, bro. We gotta trust it. We gotta trust them, the Calvinists, bro.
But you said that this was the same justified in Romans 4, but now you say it's a different one. So
well, I mean, because it's based on your works, though, and we know that he was saved by faith alone.
Yeah, I understand, but your contention was that justified means saved because of Romans 4. So do you sort of like realize the error of that, and you're now saying, okay, it's about being acknowledged by works? Is that your contention?
All right, bro. I'm getting cooked. I can't do this.
Okay.
I can't do that.
Well, yeah, it's difficult.
Yeah.
Especially for Calvinists, though. Like, if you were Catholic, it might make more sense. But as a
You know what?
Calvinist, yeah.
Let me see. How would I do it as a Catholic? What would a
Oh,
Catholic
okay. So,
do? Sorry, go ahead.
What was that?
so like all you have to do is just prove how they're wrong. Like how you're saying like what were you doing? Like I kind of understand what you were doing. You were like questioning his motives and ideas. Is that pretty much all you do?
Well, yeah, because I want to make so like in reality, most people don't know what they believe, so you got to help them know what they believe. Because you saw how he was saying justified means saved, but then I'm like, okay, but then are you saying you're saved by works? And it's like, no, I'm not saying you're saved by works. I'm like, wait, but that's what you said though. And it's like, well, no, I mean, it means you're being shown that you're saved by works. I'm like, wait, but then why did you connect it with Romans 4? That seems contradictory. And or even with the thing about the salvation. I'm like, well, I asked him, okay, why do you think the salvation means salvation from hell? And he's like, James 2:10. And what now Noah's approach was, well, James 2:10 is talking about Romans 2. And I said, why do you think it's talking about Romans 2? That book doesn't exist yet. And he's like, well, it's just a principle. Well, wait, you can say that.
sorry to. Could you write that down in the chat? Like, could you like write it on? I know this is like dumb. I'm just trying to like practice, you know.
Well,
Well,
it's
Like
well,
for example, like
it's recording, so you can just
oh
yeah,
watch
okay,
it through again.
yeah,
oh
we're recording this right now. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, and for the audience as well, you saw how he made a connection with Romans 2, and I said, hey, if you can make that connection, why can't I make the connection with Leviticus? Because it actually makes more sense to connect with Leviticus. It's talking about the law, talking about Old Testament, so that makes more sense. And he's like, well, it's a principle. And I said, well, then I asked him, really, okay, what's a principle? It's application. And that's the main problem because people conflate application with interpretation. So you have to ask them, okay, are we exegeting the passage or are we applying the passage? Because you got to know what the passage means first before you can apply it. So we got to exegete it, and that's when he admitted that it's not talking about salvation from hell in the context. So he had to prove it some other way, and once he showed he couldn't prove it another way, then that's when he really got cornered. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, got it.
that's what I'm saying. I mean, I'm just gonna be honest. James chapter 2 is the hardest passage, in my opinion. If I was like, I'm a free gracer, but I understand it, a different way than worshippers. Because I'm a free gracer, I think that James 2 is the easiest one of all and the hardest to actually prove lordship on. Just gonna be real with
Oh, okay, got it. Okay.
So what you're saying is pretty much you gotta meet them halfway there. So for example, with Catholics, you gotta ask them what they believe. Most likely they'll bring up a random church father, and then you make them question it, and then bring them towards the Bible,
you.
and that's already a big
Yeah.
step ahead.
Yeah, interpret scripture with scripture, not your own manhood, man-made doctrine. Yeah.
Oh man. Yo,
Man,
yo, yo. Hold on a second.
manhood as in doctrine, you clown. Hey, hey yo. Anyway, not kidding. Anyway, James was writing to the 12 tribes, so it makes sense that he was referring to Leviticus. Yeah, sure, I can see that. Hey yo, it's the crab man.
It
It's
makes
evil crab, bro. Welcome to
Yeah.
the party, bro.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, the
it-
Bible study. What is it, channel? It didn't work, but we're here, and we've been just talking about James chapter 2 and your mom.
and your mom too. So
Yeah,
Hey,
she's
try. We're
great,
gonna
bro.
take that.
I don't know, Mom. I really like my mom. I think that you should take that back.
no, well,
if I take that back, I might not have a back, bro.
well, to be honest, I actually like your mom too.
Hey, yo, I'm gonna kick you
And-
out of here,
Okay, let's get back to James.
Jeez, man.
What's the topic?
Well, the topic was I don't even know if Noah's still recording this now, but
yeah, I'm
the
still
topic
recording. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
the
the
topic
entire
was-
internet knows you like my mom.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So they all know that, and hey,
Well, come on, you gotta make
it-
jokes when you're doing a whole stream. Come on. Anyway.
Look, if there's a miscrustacean out there, well, I can be a Mr. Crab, okay, Mr. Crab. So,
All right, you got me there,
Well, I guess, kind of going off of the point that Cavilar was making. James was writing to the 12 tribes, so it makes sense that he was referring to Leviticus. Speaking on the idea of the 12 tribes of Israel, Rico, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
All right. So, you believe that the entire audience of the book of James, chapter, well, not 2 specifically, but the whole book of James. You agree that the whole book of James, the audience, are all saved from hell believers, right?
Drop my glasses. Zoinks.
Wait, wait. Sorry, could you repeat that again?
Yeah, so you believe that, for example, the book of James constantly says brethren, like in fact 19 times, and then 2 times it says beloved brethren. You believe that that's talking about saved from hell, like positionally in their standing with God. They're like saved from hell, right?
Well, I believe that that yeah, pretty much. I believe that you don't have to have good deeds to go to heaven.
Yeah, but uh, yeah, that's good. Okay, I was just double checking because the idea is that you know the Lord shippers, well specifically the Calvinists, right? They'll say that okay, no. When it says when it says brethren, it's not talking about brethren in the sense of believers. It's talking about brethren in the sense of Romans chapter 9 usage of Israel and how I don't know, they're just brethren in the sense of the nation of Jews, not believers necessarily. But um, you know, I would say that that doesn't really work in the book of James
Oh,
because like
so this passage, this passage is pretty much it isn't about like earning like what I say, it isn't about earning salvation through good deeds. It's just by showing that your faith is real, alive by according to its principles.
It's alive in the sense that it is active and moving, which is the
Yeah.
opposite of being dead. Of as in like it's not useful. I'll give you like a couple examples here. So like in what we were saying, verses 14 through 16, it says, "What good is that? To have faith with without works. If your faith doesn't have good works, then your faith is not active. It's not good. It's not that your faith is not there. It doesn't say that. It's just that it's not active. Number two, in verse 20, it basically shows us. It says useful, or sorry, it says, do you not know? Do you not know? What is it? Let's just put it in the chat. 2:20. It says, "But wilt thou know, O vain man, that faith without works is dead?" And the ESV says to describe this idea of this word, basically, "Do you want to be shown, you foolish person, that faith apart from works is useless?" You know how verse 17. Let's look at verse 17 here and verse 26. So verse 17 and verse 26, it says, "Even so faith, if it hath not works, is dead, being alone." Notice what we said again, alone, not that it's not there. It's and like not genuine. No, it's there, and it's just dead. And then verse 26, "For as the body apart from the spirit is dead, so also faith apart from works is dead." So these verses are talking about faith that is dead without works. And James 2:20 says the same thing, same Greek construction, same construction in English, but he uses the word useless. So it's defining the word dead, in my opinion, as useless. You see that?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see that.
All right.
How do you spell
Got it.
tiramisu? The
What?
cake thing.
Cake? What?
How do you spell that?
I don't know what you're referring to.
It's like a, I don't know, like a pudding almost, but
How is
I'll look it up.
anything
I'll look it up.
bro?
Nothing. I was just had multiple thoughts in my brain.
Dude, bro was drifting, but he was probably drifting to play a race game. I don't know.
I don't know. So wait, so I don't get it. Like, are we in chapter 2 or chapter 1? What's the deal?
So, I mean, we were kind of jumping around, as all free gracers do. They jump around the Bible and they don't exegete the Bible. But like, no.
Okay.
We were just like basically talking about James chapter 2, and we were kind of like going off of some principles from James chapter 1 and stuff like that. But yeah.
So the reason I always go to the James 2 is because that's like the biggest weapon, believers who believe it's through works to go to heaven. This is what they pretty much use the weapon, the biggest weapon, you know. That's why I always come back to this one. Or they use the baptism by water, but I already know that one. I just thought I was having a hard time with this one. That's why.
Yeah,
You
the
know, it
idea-
does say, Noah, I don't know if you know, but even the demons believe and they tremble. So
Yeah.
what do we do with that?
Yeah, that's a very good question, my evil crab. I
Uh.
gotta tell you, it's a good question because in the passage it says they believe, but they do what else?
Well, let's see. Well, you could ask, what is it they believe? It says they believe God is one. You do well, even the demons believe that.
Or
It's
you
like
could
a-
be like, did Jesus die for demons?
Yeah. I mean, that's not the point, I guess, that they would say, well, it's just like demon faith. It's just no good. But yeah, but the content of what they believe is not, in that context, isn't sufficient anyway. And actually, did you know it's possible that this came from the interlocutor, the pretend opponent that James has? Because it ends in it should end in a rebuke, like what verse is that? That's 17.
Anyway,
Yeah, because verse 20 says, "But do you want to know, O vain man, foolish man, that faith apart from works is dead?" So most people, I guess we follow, would say that that's where the exchange should end, because now James switches from the opponent to him rebuking him. I always found that interesting.
I personally have I have a different view from GES on verse 19, but regardless, I think that going on to the idea of James chapter 2, I think that what is it, Rico, right? You understand the idea of the phone analogy, right? You know that, right?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
So, like, can you explain that in your own words again? Or can you?
Yeah, I mean, if just like it's like the car theory as well. Like, I mean, if a phone is dead, it's not like it doesn't exist. It just you don't get profit from it, you know, because it's dead.
Yeah, it's like verse. Yeah, I'll just like give verse 26, and I think that this is the verse that your mother was probably using as well, for this. So, just this idea again, like, for as a body apart from the spirit is dead, so also faith apart from works is dead. If your physical body doesn't have a physical human spirit, does that therefore mean that you don't have a physical human body? I mean, like, would anybody say that? It's not a real body. Like, I mean, nobody would say that. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
right.
so likewise, faith without works is dead. It's not moving. Yeah, it wouldn't be able to profit anybody, any of the brethren out there. Like the point of verses 14 through 16, that you can't profit any of the brethren by giving them what they need for their body, because your body is dead. It won't be able to move, and use your hands to give them the clothes and give them the food and give them like a bowl of hot soup to help them for their needs.
So this passage is pretty much for the brethren, pretty much for believers. So when you do good fruits, it's for them, but this one, like I say that when you just said, I just said it to my mother. This isn't for like heaven. This is just for good works, right? Or
It's for profiting others when you do good works,
other.
and also like profiting yourself as well, because like if you do good works, I mean it's going to be profiting you in the sense that you're going to have peace from God, and joy because of the fruits of the spirit. By walking by faith, you're going to have that, and the idea is that's what God wants for you to do, as His son. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay, got it. Okay.
But I want
Okay,
to.
I think I'm a lot more clear now.
but I want to like hit the nail on this idea of brethren again. So, I want to so like the idea of brethren. Do you know the idea of James chapter 1 verse 18?
Wait, sorry, what?
So like it's James chapter
Oh,
1 verse 18. You see that in the chat? Can you
yeah, I
read
see that. I
that?
see that. Yeah, it says, "Of his own will beget, and he us with the word of truth, that we should be kind of the first fruits of his creatures."
Yeah, so the idea is that of God's own will, you know, that the word begat, it can be the idea of being born again. So like of his own will, you know, God, uh, you know, got us born again uh, by
Mhm.
the word of truth, that we should be a kind of first fruits of his creatures. You know, all believers are first fruits in that sense. Uh, and it says the word of truth, you know, that could be about the idea of them, you know, hearing the gospel, hearing salvation, and basically getting saved, right? So
Mhm.
I think this verse is, you know, the clearest one of all, or a very clear passage that shows that these people are believers that are saved from hell. Now, I don't know if I should include this last point, because it might waste time, but it could take a while. But I'll just leave it at that for now. I'll just leave like a couple points out there, and I'll be making a video on it as well. Anyway, so I could probably address it there.
Okay. So, like, wait, do you have the? Do you? Where's the like the recording? Where? How do you get to the recording?
So basically,
Like, so.
I'm just gonna put it on my channel, and it'll be in my Discord bio. So you'll just click on my Discord bio and go and see the video on my channel. But you know that's where you're gonna find it. It's my YouTube channel. But
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think if there's anything else in James chapter 2 that.
Did you talk about that one verse? Because you know it says, uh, "What good is it, my brethren, if a man says he has faith but no works?" And some versions like make up words, qualifiers. Can such faith save him, or can
Yeah,
that faith save him?
yeah.
Yeah, you talked
Yeah,
about that.
we I think we briefly addressed that. The idea is that in the Greek, the word ita, or sorry, the Greek letter ita or he, in the Greek there, it mostly in most Bible translations is more than like even most, if not all, is defined or translated as the, not that or such or whatever. It's just usually translated as the faith, and that's exactly why Chris Morrison, someone who is really good in the Greek, almost like a scholar for free grace, he basically says that it's the faith, as in the general faith, not like faith in the sense of like a specific kind of faith, that if you don't have this specific kind of faith, then you're not going to be saved from hell. So, I'm really trying to think, like, if there's, okay, I'll just lay out this another point, because like, you know, so like Rico, you're still there, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
I'm sorry.
so yeah, so verse 21. Can you read verse 21 of James chapter 2?
Yeah, I can read. It says, well, says, it says, "What was not Abraham our father justified by works when he had offered Isaac upon his son upon the altar?"
Yeah, so can you read a verse 22 as well?
Yeah. It sees how faith wrought with his works, and by faith works, and by works was his faith made perfect.
Yeah, so Lordshippers, Calvinists, or you know, Catholics, stuff like that. Lordshippers in general, they might say, you know, okay, because of the fact that he did the good works, the word justify there, it just means to like acknowledge, in the sense that when he did the good works, it proved that he was a believer, like that when he was a believer, he's gonna do the good works eventually, or whatever. But the problem just simply with that is that the Bible tells us explicitly, point blank, in Genesis 15:6, it literally says, Abraham believed God and it was counted onto him for righteousness. It literally says that in verse 23 as well. And the scripture was fulfilled. It says Abraham believed God and it was counted onto him for righteousness. He was called a friend of God. So that is that when he believed in God, the scripture tells us point blank, he had the righteousness of Christ. He was saved. And notice what it says after that. And he was called a friend of God. He was called a friend of God when he had righteousness of Christ in Genesis 15:6, and then later on in Genesis 22 showed his faith in the sense of activeness to God and maybe to others through Scripture. By his good work of wanting to sacrifice his son for God's will. And when he did that, it basically says, I think in verse 13 of Genesis chapter 22, that now I know that you fear me. That's the idea of God justifying Abraham by Abraham's work to God, in my opinion.
Oh, okay, good. Oh, I see that. So when it says that, on 22 says, so thou hast how faith wrought with his works, and by works faith was made perfect. So what that means is so by believing, just believe, by having faith and believing, you're going to heaven, right? But by doing works, it makes it perfect. Correct?
Yeah, it makes it perfect. Do you know what the Greek word there for perfect is?
I don't.
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah, so the Greek word there in specifically James 2, not the lexiconical form, but in James 2, it's ateliothi, and ateliothi, it basically is the same Greek word in the lexiconical form as used in John chapter 19, verse 30, which is, as everybody knows, right, teteleste, or I, with the idea that it is finished, right? So that's the word that's used. But I don't think it's when it's used in verse 22, it means like complete, in the sense of like something is like finished. I think it means like something is like mature. For like the word usually in the Bible, it usually carries across the idea of maturity. That something is like complete, as in like it got itself to its fullest extent or goal. That God wants a believer to have something, which is good works, and once the good works have been reached because they have faith and because they want to follow God and stuff like that, then they are mature when they have the good works. Not that they're going to do the good works when they believe, but that when they have faith in Jesus Christ, aka get saved from hell, that the believer should want to walk in the light of their salvation. When they believe for salvation, one moment, that they should do the good works to have a mature and active faith. That's why it says working with his works made perfect. Faith is made perfect.
Oh, okay, got it. Good. Okay. Oh.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm writing these arguments down, but I already have the recording, but I'm putting them, I'm organizing them.
And then another thing is that, verse 24, PB and me, we talk about this point a lot. I think I think we talked about this point a lot to some Lord Shippers. Even Daniel Weyerbach has talked about it a lot to Lord Shippers. And the idea is, it says, you see then how that faith by works a man is justified, and not by faith alone. Or sorry, that by works a man is justified. Sorry, I meant works a man is justified, and not by faith only. people will say, dude, it says not by faith only, and some translations also say faith alone. So people will say, oh, but it says you're justified, by works and not by faith alone. So therefore, faith alone doesn't save you. I mean, that's what some Catholics say, right? But PB and I, we discussed this with worshipers that, the word justified there is a verb. And as we know in the Greek, or in English, verbs are modified when we have an adverb, right? You know that, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So got an adverb, it modifies or it kind of like articulates itself through a verb. So like the same way, an adjective modifies or articulates itself through a noun. Um, that's kind of the idea. But the point to bring up here is that the only noun in the passage, I don't know if it's correct or not. PB, let me know if I'm correct or not. Is it the word faith? Is that right? The only noun, right?
The word you see that by faith a man is justified and not by works. That's the other noun. So there's works, and then there's faith, and then there's you, and then there's man. That's the other noun in the passage.
If you want to explain that point, the idea of verse 24, that would be awesome. And I'm gonna be right back.
Oh, okay. Okay, since Noah's going to be back, for the audience, I'll again make this short and sweet. So, in James chapter 2, the word for only, or in some translations alone, is actually the Greek word monon, and it can be used as an adjective in terms of describing the noun, like, I went to the store alone, right? Like, I alone went to the store. Or it could be used as an adverb, right? Depending on how you parse it out, as in terms of I only went to the store, right? So, so there's two ways to parse it out. Now, the problem is that if you actually look at the Greek morphology in any sort of Greek New Testament, it's actually an adverb. It's listed as an adverb. And I mean, and there's no, as far as I know, there's no Greek New Testament that has it as an adjective, which means if it's an adverb, adverbs only modify verbs and other adjectives. Well, what's the only other verb it could modify, right? Well, in the context, it's justified, right? But then how would we parse it out to make sense? We would say, you see that by works a man is justified, and not only by faith. So it actually is affirming justification by faith alone, but that's about salvation, right? By faith alone. So it says, you see a man is not only justified by faith, that's salvation, imputed righteousness, but also by works. But then, okay, you have to ask, what does it mean to be justified by works? We'll go in the previous book. It explains it. It's Abraham was declared a friend of God, right? That 30 years after he was already saved. So it can't be talking about salvation. It's talking about being declared righteous or a friend of God by your works.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think
that's a part
yeah,
that some people struggle with. That like we're being a friend of God is not the same as being a believer, like automatically. It's I think in John 15 he says, "You are my friends if you do what I tell you. You follow my commands." Find that verse.
Gracers say that that's about the new man. So like the new man is always friends with God, and so like you don't, and so like the new man keeps the commandments, but like you don't have to keep the commandments because you're not the new man. You know,
says that?
you know. Some free gracers, and they'll know who they are.
Okay. Yeah, 15:14, John.
All right, so I'm gonna just say, so like I'm gonna have to finish up something in my house, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just like finish the recording here, and I'm gonna I'll be right back. But I'm gonna go and finish the recording, add this to the playlist, and I guess we'll count this as James 2. I guess exegesis, but like not necessarily in depth, but yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna say that for now. All right, I'll be right back. God bless.
All
All right. Does that mean